Earlier, we'd reported that Harry Reid seemed to be against the idea of Elizabeth Warren or some of the other progressives being picked as vice president by Hillary Clinton, because he said if you're in an important state with a governor, a Republican governor that could appoint a Republican senator in your place, I hope Hillary Clinton doesn't pick you. Now, two of those senators happens to be Sherrod Brown, who is maybe the third most progressive senator in the Senate. Number one is Bernie Sanders. Number three is Sherrod Brown. Number two is Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts, Republican governor. So Harry Reid seemed to have eliminated two out of the most three progressive senators in the country, and my guess is Hillary Clinton's not going to pick Bernie Sanders. So we did a little reading between the lines, and we thought that that meant he was against Elizabeth Warren. Interesting turn of events today. It turns out there's some movement on that issue. So Huffington Post reports Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid believes Elizabeth Warren should be the running mate of presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, according to 4 Senate sources familiar with Reid's thinking. So there's two possibilities here. We misread him, or he changed his position, or the combination thereof. Let's keep reading into the story and finding out what it is. Reid had initially been skeptical of the chatter around Warren. Okay, so maybe we were a little right. Publicly warning that Democrats couldn't afford to lose the seat the Massachusetts senator currently occupies. But the Boston Globe reported last week that he had tasked attorney Marc Elias with studying how manageable the loss would be. Elias is not coincidentally the general counsel for Clinton's campaign. So obviously these discussions were happening behind the scenes. And it turns out he was skeptical. Then, in an effort to gather information, he asked Hillary Clinton's general counsel to look into this. It's not that hard. You don't need Hillary Clinton's general counsel to look into it. You can just do a Google search, and you'll find out that, yes, in Massachusetts, a special election is called. Meanwhile, yes, the Republican governor would appoint an interim senator, but the special election would happen 145 to 160 days after the senator steps down, which is not that long a period of time. And in Massachusetts, a Democrat is overwhelmingly likely to win the Senate seat. So not that big a risk, and you didn't need a Hillary's person to look into it, but Hillary's person looking into it is another interesting sign. Okay, and then they explain, as Reid has examined the issue in recent weeks, he has grown confident the Democrats could hold on to Warren's Senate seat and retake the upper chamber, according to sources. He also believes they could even put the House in play for Democrats, the sources said. One of the ways that you do that is by having a more progressive ticket, and certainly Elizabeth Warren would make the Clinton-Warren ticket far, far more progressive than if she picked a standard establishment Democrat. And a source close to Harry Reid confirmed, yes, he has been back and forth on this issue. But they also said lately he's been leaning toward and sending signals to Hillary Clinton to make the ask. So clearly going in Elizabeth Warren's direction. Now, I'm going to have a conclusion on Harry Reid in 1 second, because I think this story is not only important for the national conversation and for Elizabeth Warren possibly being vice president, but it's also important to Harry Reid's legacy. But give me 1 more second to tell you one more piece of this report from Huffington Post. Reid and Warren have a history, they explain. As a majority leader, he plucked Warren from Harvard Law School to name her chairman of a panel overseeing the Wall Street bailout. She used that visibility that came with that platform to push the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau into law. Now, Harry Reid didn't have to do that, and he did do that, and that was a big progressive win. So on this program, we've asked many times, where does Harry Reid's priorities actually lie? Is he a progressive but been fighting against a Republican machine that was hard to beat? Or did he not mind losing to conservatives so much that he took a lot of the same campaign donations that the Republicans did, and as some Democrats do, pretend that, oh, what could I do? The Republicans beat me again. Okay, we will do what the donors want. I'm sure that the answer is somewhere in between. And anyone who takes that amount of money is unfortunately going to be corrupted. And it is the system's fault. It doesn't make them all bad people. It'll even take good people and corrupt them. So, and they will say, hey, look, what am I going to do? I need to raise money for myself. I need to raise money for my party so that we could win and do progressive priorities. But the question is, were they doing progressive priorities? Now, this report, combined with things I've heard from the Sanders campaign about Harry Reid and what he's done behind the scenes to help progressives, and the fact that he is now clearly turned around and supporting one of the most progressive senators to be the vice presidential pick for Hillary Clinton, leads me to the conclusion that, as frustrated as we have been with Harry Reid, that in fact, behind the scenes, he has been attempting to be as progressive as he thought he could be. That is as high a praise as I could give him. Now, I wish that he had fought harder on many, many issues. I wish he'd won on those issues, like keeping us out of the war in Iraq. And a lot of people didn't have his back on that issue. He did win on some issues, for example, when they tried to privatize Social Security under George W. Bush. But as Harry Reid is now set to retire, and you're looking at his whole history and his legacy, there is good evidence that, to the best of his ability, he did try to fight for progressive values, sometimes out in front and sometimes behind the scenes. And for this and for other things, he should get credit. And we have done plenty of stories where we have taken credit for him because we didn't think he fought hard enough, or we didn't think that he was progressive, certainly to the point that we had wanted. But credit where credit is due here, and this is certainly ending on a high note.